Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Weird News and Wacky History, a look behind the scenes of what's been happening throughout the years. I'm your host, Pastor Roland Moss, that old history dude, with an invitation to you. Want to walk on the wild side today? Then join me as we visit lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Those scientists at Australia's University of New South Wales are unceasing in their effort to save the endangered lion population of Africa. And their latest cutting-edge technique? Painting eyes on cows' butts, of course. Here's why. Lions are ambush hunters, so they creep up on their prey, get close, and jump on them unseen, says biologist Neil Jordan of the UNSW. But lions don't like being watched, he points out. When the lion realizes it's been spotted, it gives up on the hunt. Cows are big, slow creatures, easy prey for lions. Farmers shoot every lion they see to protect their herds. Problem is, only 23,000 to 39,000 lions remain in the wild, putting them on the International Union for Conservation of Nature's red list of threatened species. So how can environmentalists save the lions while farmers still protect their cattle? Phony eyes, that's how. Nature uses fake eyes as protective camouflage, especially on butterflies. Why not try it on the big, broad behinds of African cattle? Initial trials of cows bearing bogus eyes on their butts began in Botswana in 2015 and have proven successful. Results are being tracked from both sides using GPS tracking devices on livestock and lions alike. It sounds weird, but often weird works wonderfully well. But things can get ugly when big cats go head to head with each other. Since 1952, one of the most recognizable and successful merchandising icons in the advertising world has been Tony the Tiger. With his distinctive, "They're great" voice so memorably for almost 5 decades by Thurl Ravenscroft, rumbly singer of the memorable "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," he's brought in $5.2 billion into Kellogg's coffers between 1952 and 1995. But then a new tiger rolled into town in 1964. Esso, now ExxonMobil, introduced their own big bone tiger who urged drivers to put a tiger in your tank. The two big cats peacefully coexisted for the next 40 years. But when ExxonMobil started to use Tiger in Your Tank cat to advertise food and beverages in their Tiger Mart store, the fur bristled on Tony's neck and suddenly the country wasn't big enough for the two of them. Kellogg's filed suit for trademark and copyright infringement in 1996. The cat fight scratched and clawed itself all the way to the Supreme Court, tussling over the use and abuse of two cartoon characters. The nation's top court declined to hear the case, letting stand a lower court's decision that after 3 decades, Kellogg had waited too long to sue. Convinced that each other was right, Exxon and Kellogg settled out of court. Sometimes animals actually do go to war. Need something heavy moved in the Polish Second Corps? Just call Wojciech, the strongest soldier in the unit. After all, he was a Syrian brown bear. Donated to the 2nd Transport Company as a cub, Wojciech, meaning happy warrior, initially had problems swallowing, so his soldier buddies fed him condensed milk, marmalade, fruit, honey, syrup, and his favorite, beer. He was soon smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee with his chums, marching on his hind legs, wrestling with his pals, and giving snappy salutes. When sent to Italy to fight, all mascots were forbidden, so Wojciech was officially drafted into the 22nd Artillery Supply Company, given his own paybook, serial number, and held the rank of private. At the Battle of Monte Cassino, he tirelessly carried 100-pound artillery shells to the guns, doing the work of 4 men and never dropped any. For his service, he was promoted to corporal, and his likeness went on the unit flag. Post-war, he went to Scotland with the rest of his unit and made new friends. When his unit was mustered out, he stayed on as a crowd favorite at the Edinburgh Zoo, where he died on December of 1963 at age 21, tipping the scales at 1,100 pounds. Then again, sometimes it's just not easy being a bear. In 2004, Washington State Fish and Wildlife officers received a call from a rustic resort. They had a massive problem out there. A large black bear was passed out on the lawn of the Baker Lake Resort, surrounded by empty cans of Rainier beer. Breaking into some campers' coolers, he'd used his teeth and claws to puncture and then guzzled down the brewskis. But this was a discriminating Bruin. There was also one partially consumed can of Busch beer. He drank the Rainier and wouldn't drink the Busch, said the campground bookkeeper Lisa Broxton. He didn't like that and consumed, as near as we can tell, about 36 cans of Rainier, added Department of Wildlife Sergeant Bill Hink. Wildlife officers tried to chase off the bear, but only succeeded in getting him to woozily climb a tree to sleep off his massive hangover for 4 hours. Finally getting him off the property, he was back bright and early next morning in search of still more Rainier beer. Wildlife officials finally set up a cage trap to capture the alcoholic bear, baited with donuts, honey, and, you guessed it, 2 cans of Rainier beer. The boozy bear was hauled away, hopefully to a beer-free environment. And that's about all the time we have for this edition of Weird News and Wacky History, a look behind the scenes of what's been happening throughout the years. I'm your host, Pastor Roland Moss, author, historian, speaker, wishing that all your history might be just a little bit weird.